Welcome, my dear friend. I am so glad you are here with me today. Go ahead and take a slow, deep breath and just let your shoulders drop. Let all the tightness leave your frame as we step into this quiet space together. Take a look around the room you are sitting in right now. The late afternoon light is slowly drifting away, softly fading into those gentle, quiet shades of twilight. Outside your window, the world is beginning to change its clothes. The brilliant, bright blue of the midday sky has softened into a warm, amber glow that fills the room with a tender light. Long, golden shadows stretch across your floor, reaching out from the windowsill like quiet, old memories. On the table right next to you, perhaps there is a cup of chamomile tea. It was warm just a little while ago, sending up small curls of steam, but now the steam has stopped rising. The liquid sits completely still and cool, reflecting the dimming light of the early evening. The house has grown quiet. It is a profound, deep quietness that seems to grow just a little bit heavier with every passing minute. And in the middle of that quietness, the only sound you can hear is the rhythmic, cold ticking of the wall clock. Tick-tack, tick-tack. Each second is a steady, uncompromising reminder of the steady march of time. Have you ever found yourself sitting completely alone in a room just as this twilight begins to fade away? Have you felt that sudden, vague wave of anxiety close in around you out of nowhere? It is an experience that many of us know all too well, yet it is something we rarely speak about out loud. It is that heavy, almost suffocating silence of a suburban home when the night begins to fall and the day's distractions disappear. It is that deeply unsettling feeling that the world outside your front door is spinning at a blinding hyperspeed pace while you have been left behind in a quiet corner. It feels as though you are trapped in a cold, stagnant pocket of isolation, watching the rest of humanity rush past your windows. You look around at the four walls that felt so comforting and familiar during the bright hours of the morning. Suddenly, under the cover of dusk, they seem unimaginably vast, empty, and distant. A quiet, unsettling voice whispers in your mind asking, "Is this what the rest of your life will look like? Will your golden years be nothing more than a repetitive loop of quiet days and lonely nights? Is this the inevitable end that every single one of us must accept once we cross over the peak of our lives and begin descending the autumn slope?" The truth is, we do not fear growing older simply because of the silver strands in our hair or the fine lines on our faces. Those are just biological markers of a life fully lived, beautiful signs of time passing. What we truly fear is an invisible, creeping phantom called loneliness. We fear the day the telephone stops ringing. We fear the day our dinners shrink down to a single chair, a single plate, and a single set of utensils sitting on a large, quiet dining table. That quiet dread gnaws at our minds day by day, turning what should be the most tranquil, well-deserved, and beautiful years of our journey into a heavy, emotional burden. We feel an immense pressure, an unspoken sadness that we carry silently in our chests because we do not want to worry our loved ones or make them feel guilty. But today, right here, in this very moment, I want to offer you a completely different perspective. I want to lift that heavy blanket of anxiety from your shoulders and share a gentle, profoundly beautiful path toward true inner freedom. This is a path illuminated by the timeless wisdom of the late Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. He always reminded us with immense tenderness that we do not need to change our external circumstances to find true peace and joy. You do not need to force your children to be by your side 24 hours a day to feel loved and valued. You do not need to seek out loud, distracting, and frantic environments to fill the empty voids in your home. The ultimate solution, the most powerful medicine, is already living inside you, right within your own breath. By dedicating just 15 minutes every day to a simple, rustic practice of mindful meditation, you can transform that terrifying sense of isolation into a sweet, self-sustaining energy of inner freedom. Those 15 minutes will do far more than just soothe your mind in the present moment. They hold the sacred power to completely reshape your destiny, turning your elder years into the most vibrant, peaceful, and spiritually rich chapter of your entire life. Let us walk down this path together, slowly and deeply, to discover how being alone in old age is never a tragedy when you truly know how to become your own best friend. Before we journey deeper into this ancient wisdom, if you find comfort in these words and wish to build a sanctuary of peace together, please take a brief, gentle moment to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Your support helps us bring this warm embrace to many other lonely hearts across the world who are sitting in the silence right now, waiting to be found. To understand why we fall into this heavy state of mind, we must look directly at the real, raw pieces of our daily lives. We cannot heal a wound that we refuse to look at or acknowledge. Let us look together with immense tenderness at the different ways loneliness manifests in our homes. Think about the parents who have poured half their lives, their energy, and their youth into raising their children. You were the one who woke up before the sun to pack school lunches. You went to bed late, worrying over every fever, every scraped knee, and every restless night. You drove them to baseball practices, clapped until your hands were sore at their graduations, and watched with a mixture of immense pride and deep heartache as they stepped confidently into adulthood. Your home used to be a chaotic, beautiful symphony of laughter, running footsteps, slammed doors, and the warm, messy complications of family life. There was never enough time in the day, and the house was always full of sound. Then in what feels like the absolute blink of an eye, those children grew up. They packed their bags and they left the nest. They moved away to chase careers, build their own independent lives, and start their own families in distant, busy cities. Now you are left standing face to face with what psychologists call the empty nest syndrome. But it is more than a clinical syndrome. It is a heavy physical reality. The bedroom that once belonged to your child, the room that used to be messy with clothes and echo with loud music, is now perfectly neat, clean, and devastatingly cold. You walk into that room, perhaps you dust the shelves every week, touching old books, school yearbooks, and childhood toys. As your fingers brush against those objects, your heart tightens with a profound, aching sense of nostalgia. Weeks go by and perhaps your children only have enough time to call you a few times a month. Even those conversations feel rushed, brief, and distracted. They are cut short because your children are drowning in the demands of their own work, their own bills, and their own hectic, hyperspeed routines. You hang up the phone, sit back in your chair, and a painful question echoes in your mind. Have I become a stranger standing on the sidelines of my own children's lives? You consciously choose not to call them too often because you refuse to be a burden, but the heavy silence that fills the room after a brief call feels like a dull, aching wound in your chest. There is another reality, one that carries an even deeper, more heartbreaking emptiness. It is the experience of facing the world after the passing of your lifelong partner. This was the person who walked beside you through the fiercest storms of your youth. They were the ones who shared your morning coffee, who knew your fears without you saying a word, and the one you whispered to about the small, ordinary details of your day before falling asleep. Now, they are gone. You wake up in the morning and instinctively turn your head to the side, only to find the cold, undisturbed space on the other side of the bed. The pillow still rests there, matching yours, but the warmth vanished long ago. You walk down to the kitchen to cook a meal, but the joy of preparation is entirely gone because there is no one left to share it with. Sitting down at a dining table set for only one person, you realize that eating has lost its flavor. You realize you are putting too much salt in the soup because your senses are searching for something that is no longer there. You eat simply to sustain your body, not to enjoy the food. Every single corner of the house is stained with the memory of the person you lost, and the beautiful moments you once cherished have turned into sharp reminders of your current solitude. You feel like a solitary bird flying through a grey, endless sky with nowhere left to land. To make matters worse, This isolation feels magnified by the modern digital age we live in. You walk into the living room when your family does visit, perhaps during Thanksgiving or a brief weekend stay, only to see your grandchildren or relatives completely absorbed in their smartphones. They are scrolling, laughing, and communicating with a digital world thousands of miles away, yet they are utterly oblivious to the living human being sitting right next to them on the couch. You try to start a conversation, trying to share a story from the past or simply asking them how their week has been, but the responses you receive are nothing more than distracted nods or brief, half-hearted answers. You feel completely invisible in your own home. It is as if you have become an outdated piece of furniture, an old grandfather clock whose ticking has fallen out of sync with the loud, hyperspeed rhythm of the modern world. You do not understand their fast-paced digital language, and they do not seem to have the patience or the time to listen to the quiet, deep ocean of your heart. All of these experiences accumulate into a massive wall of psychological pressure. You feel abandoned, irrelevant, and you begin to view your remaining years through a lens of anxiety and gloom. I understand the quiet tears you shed at night when no one is looking. Those feelings are completely real, they are valid, and they deserve to be held with immense tenderness rather than being ignored or pushed away. Why does loneliness have such a destructive, terrifying power over our minds as we age? When we look through the combined lens of modern behavioral psychology and the ancient mindfulness teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, we discover a striking, liberating truth. The root cause of our fear of loneliness does not actually come from how many people are physically present in our lives. The true source of our terror is that we are deeply, fundamentally afraid of facing the vast, echoing emptiness inside ourselves. We are afraid of what happens when the noise stops and we are left alone with our own minds. Throughout our youth and middle age in Western culture, our minds are trained to look completely outward. From the moment we enter the workforce, we are caught in the productivity trap. We are told that our value as a human being is directly tied to our output, our achievements, and our busyness. We throw ourselves into our jobs, chase professional recognition, accumulate material wealth, manage households, and maintain a sprawling, superficial web of social connections. Our minds become like a commercial radio station playing at maximum volume 24 hours a day. We are constantly bombarded by the external noises, responsibilities, and demands of the world. We use this relentless busyness as a shield, a subconscious distraction, so we never have to sit still and look into our own inner landscape. We tell ourselves we are being productive, but in reality, we are running away from the quiet spaces inside. However, when retirement arrives, when our careers end, when our children move away, and our social circles naturally shrink due to time and age, that shield is suddenly torn away. The background music of the world stops. The environment around you becomes completely quiet. The office keys are handed back, the calendar is suddenly blank, and you are left sitting in an armchair with nothing but your own thoughts. And it is within that sudden, naked silence that the internal radio switches on, and the voices we ignored for decades begin to roar. When there are no tasks to complete, no children to dress, and no meetings to attend, the ego experiences a massive identity crisis. You ask yourself, who am I if I'm no longer a manager? Who am I if I'm no longer a busy mother? Who am I if I'm no longer needed by anyone? This is the exact moment when long-buried emotional wounds from the past, old mistakes you regret making, and the painful whispers of what-ifs start to invade your mind. In the quiet of the night, your mind begins to replay decisions made 40 years ago, an old argument with a sibling, a failed relationship, a parenting choice you wish you could change. The silence does not just exhume the past, it also becomes a fertile breeding ground for the ghosts of the future. You look at your aging body, feeling the daily dull ache in your joints, noticing the thinning silver hair and the slowing of your step. The terrifying fear of severe illness, the dread of losing your cognitive autonomy to conditions like dementia, and ultimately, the primal anxiety surrounding death and your own non-existence begin to assault your peace of mind. Facing such a massive, uncharted void inside your soul can make you feel incredibly unsafe, fragile, and panicked. Loneliness is not the problem. It is our inability to stand our own company when the external world stops applauding us. It is the realization that we have spent a lifetime building a house, but we never learned how to live inside the home of our own soul. Once we clearly see the root of this issue, we realize that the only path to true liberation is not to try and fill the outer void with more noise, but to learn how to make peace with and illuminate the space within. The method of transformation left to us by Thich Nhat Hanh is beautifully elegant, profoundly simple, and accessible to anyone, right in the comfort of your own home. It requires no special equipment, no intense physical flexibility, and no cost. It requires nothing more than 15 minutes of your day. This is the practice of mindful recognition, of turning your attention inward to care for your pain. Let us practice this together right now, in real time, as you listen to my voice. I invite you to adjust your posture slightly on the chair or bed where you are resting. Find a position where your spine is straight but completely relaxed, like a majestic mountain. Let your shoulders drop completely, releasing the heavy, invisible weight of worry they have carried for decades. Unclench your jaw. Soften the tight muscles on your face, particularly the small space between your eyebrows where we tend to hold our unspoken anxieties. Gently close your eyes, or keep them slightly open, gazing softly at a point on the floor in front of you. Now bring your full, undivided attention to your breath, the precious stream of air that has sustained you since the moment you were born. As you breathe in, feel the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs and gently expanding your abdomen. Just know that you are inhaling. As you breathe out, feel the warm air leaving your body, your chest relaxing, and your abdomen falling. Just know that you are flexing your awareness. Let your breath flow completely naturally, exactly as it is, without trying to force it to be longer, deeper, or different. If your breath is short, let it be short. If it is long, let it be long. Just be the gentle observer of your breath. Now, as you sit in this quiet awareness, the heavy waves of loneliness, nostalgia, or physical discomfort may begin to surface in your mind or chest. Do not fight them. Do not judge yourself for feeling this way. And do not try to push them away to turn on the television. Instead, practice the gentle art of welcoming them. Thich Nhat Hanh taught us that our loneliness is like a crying infant, and our mindfulness is the loving mother. When a baby cries, the mother does not get angry at the baby. She does not throw the baby away. She steps forward, picks the infant up into her arms, and cradles it with immense tenderness. I invite you now to place your right hand gently over your heart and your left hand on your stomach. Feel the warmth of your own palms transferring through your clothes onto your skin. This is your own hand, the hand that has worked, created, and loved for over 65 years. Bring your awareness to that tight, heavy sensation in your chest, the physical location of your loneliness. Smile at it. Breathe in deeply and say to yourself silently, inhaling, I know that loneliness is here inside me. Tho Ra, look at it with compassion and say, exhaling, I am holding my loneliness with love. Repeat this comforting phrase with every cycle of your breath. Inhaling, I recognize my pain. Exhaling, I cradle my pain. When you stop resisting, when you stop running away, and instead choose to look directly at your loneliness with a compassionate, gentle smile, a profound shift occurs. The soothing, warm energy of your own mindfulness begins to untie the tight knots of tension in your heart. Loneliness ceases to be a terrifying external monster trying to destroy you. It simply becomes a wounded, tired part of your own energy that is calling out for your own love, validation, and care. You are becoming your own protector, your own sanctuary. To give you an unwavering foundation of faith in this simple practice, I want to share the story of a wonderful woman named Margaret. Her journey is a living testament to how 15 minutes of daily mindfulness can completely rewrite the script of a person's later years, turning isolation into a sacred sanctuary. I met Margaret a few years ago at a mindfulness retreat, and her eyes possessed a radiant, joyful clarity that made her look completely timeless. But her life had not always been that peaceful. Margaret spent her youth and middle age working as a highly successful litigation attorney in the busy heart of Boston. She was a woman of intense intellect, immense drive, and absolute action. Her entire identity, her self-worth, and her daily adrenaline were wrapped up in winning court cases, managing cross-examinations, and leading a prestigious law firm. She was a master of being busy, of doing. However, when she reached the age of 67, her life was hit by a succession of sudden, devastating crises. She reached mandatory retirement at her firm, which meant an abrupt, violent end to the busy boardrooms, the demanding schedules, and the constant, daily validation of her peers. Around that exact same time, her husband of 35 years passed away unexpectedly from a heart condition. To add to her profound isolation, her only daughter moved to the opposite side of the country to pursue a demanding medical residency in Seattle. Her daughter was overwhelmed with her own schedule, calling only once every few weeks and rarely finding the time to fly back to Boston to visit. Almost overnight, Margaret went from a life of intense noise, influence, and connection to sitting completely alone in a large, historic, and utterly silent apartment. She slid into a deep, dark depression. For the first year of her retirement, Margaret woke up every single morning with a crushing physical weight of emptiness in her chest. The silence of the apartment felt hostile, like a prison cell. She tried everything to escape it. She left the television blaring the cable news networks day and night, from morning until midnight, simply to have the ambient sound of human voices drowning out the quietness. She spent hours consuming political debates and distressing global news online, which only made her feel more helpless. She developed severe insomnia, her blood pressure spiked to dangerous levels, and she became incredibly irritable. Whenever her daughter did find a few minutes to call, instead of a warm, loving conversation, Margaret would unleash an avalanche of bitter complaints and passive-aggressive guilt. She would lament how lonely she was, blame her daughter for moving so far away, and complain about how unfair her life had become. These phone calls naturally became shorter, tenser, and less frequent. Her daughter began to dread picking up the phone, knowing she would face a heavy blanket of guilt that she could not fix while managing her own stressful career. Margaret was drowning in her own isolation, firmly believing that her old age was doomed to be a miserable, lonely decline. The turning point came when a neighbor gave her a small, simple book written by Thich Nhat Hanh. As Margaret read those gentle, clear sentences, which felt like a cool stream of pure water poured over a feverish, burning mind, she decided to try a different way. She realized she was destroying her own peace. She committed herself to a strict but simple daily routine. Every single afternoon at 5 o'clock, the exact hour when the twilight would normally trigger her intense anxiety, she would turn off the television completely. She would put her phone in another room, sit down in her favorite armchair by the window, and spend exactly 15 minutes practicing the mindful breathing and self-cradling we just did. In the first few weeks, it was an incredibly difficult uphill battle. Her mind was restless, screaming for distraction. Bitter memories of her husband's passing, resentments toward her daughter, and defensive thoughts about her career would flood her consciousness, pulling her away from her breath within seconds. But Margaret used the discipline she had developed as a lawyer to stay with the practice. Every single time she noticed her mind wandering out into the painful past or the fearful future, she gently, without any self-judgment, used the physical sensation of her breath as an anchor to pull herself back to the present moment. She began to learn how to smile at her own loneliness. Instead of running away to turn on the radio, she looked inward and named her pain. "Hello, my loneliness. I know you are here, and I am going to take good care of you." After several months of quiet, unyielding, and rustic consistency, a beautiful miracle occurred inside Margaret's apartment and inside her soul. She stopped fearing the silence. The very quietness that used to drive her to despair transformed into a sacred, beautiful space where she could finally enjoy the simple miracle of being alive. She started maintaining her home with immense love rather than viewing it as an empty nest. She planted beautiful, vibrant geraniums and roses on her balcony, watching them bloom day by day. She learned the joy of preparing meals mindfully for one person, treating herself as an honored guest. When she washed her dishes, she no longer rushed through the chore to get back to the TV. Instead, she felt the warm water against her skin, appreciated the texture of the porcelain, and smiled. The toxic energy of resentment and blame slowly evaporated from her heart, replaced by a deep, radiant peace. The most extraordinary part of her transformation was how it completely healed her relationship with her daughter. During a phone call a few months later, instead of complaining or demanding attention, Margaret simply listened to her daughter with absolute presence, warmth, and genuine understanding. She shared happy stories about her roses blooming on the balcony and spoke about the quiet joy of her afternoon meditations. Her daughter was absolutely stunned by the change in her mother's voice, which was now rich with peace rather than desperation. The invisible weight of guilt lifted off the daughter's shoulders. From that day forward, the daughter began calling regularly, not out of a heavy sense of obligation, but because she genuinely wanted to bathe in her mother's peaceful, grounding energy. She even began arranging her limited vacation time to fly across the country with her own children to spend weeks with Margaret. By changing her internal environment through 15 minutes of daily practice, Margaret transformed from a lonely, isolated woman into a pillar of strength and peace for her entire family. Margaret's beautiful journey shows us that when we learn to become our own companion through mindfulness, we develop an extraordinary inner resilience. Being alone is stripped of its negative, painful connotations of abandonment, neglect, and irrelevance. Instead, it is elevated to a beautifully rich, majestic state of consciousness, sacred solitude. This is a state of absolute self-sufficiency, deep contentment, and spiritual maturity. But to establish this sacred solitude permanently, we must confront the two psychological demons that frequently attack our peace of mind when we sit in silence: the heavy regrets of our past and the terrifying anxieties of our future. When the external noise of life fades, our mind naturally acts like a time machine, dragging us backward or pushing us forward, anywhere except the safe harbor of the present moment. Let us look first at the weight of the past. When you sit alone in a quiet house, it is so easy to fall into the habit of overthinking, of replaying the tapes of your life with a critical, unforgiving lens. You might find yourself Dan Vat over an old divorce that happened 30 years ago, wondering if you could have done things differently. You might experience intense guilt over your parenting, remembering times when you were too stressed, too angry, or too busy with your career to give your children the emotional presence they needed. You look at where they are now, and you blame yourself for their struggles. To this, Thich Nhat Hanh offers a profound, liberating teaching. The past is already gone, and the future is not yet here. There is only one place where life is available, and that is the present moment. If you carry a heavy bag of rocks from the past on your back, you cannot walk freely in the garden of the present. When an old regret surfaces during your meditation, do not try to argue with it or suppress it. Look at that younger version of yourself, the version that made that mistake 40 years ago, with eyes of deep maturity and compassion. Realize that you made that choice based on the limited understanding, the stress, and the unhealed wounds you carried at that time. You did the best you could with the tools you had. By breathing mindfully right now, by creating peace in this current room, you are actually rewriting the spiritual energy of that past mistake. You can say to your past, "I see you, I forgive you, and I let you go." You clear away the emotional clutter of a lifetime, leaving the soil of your heart pure, serene, and light as you walk down the autumn slope of your life. Now let us look at the second demon, the fear of the future. As our bodies age, it is completely natural to experience anxiety about what lies ahead. You might feel a sharp pain in your knee or a dull ache in your back, and your mind instantly jumps to the worst-case scenario. You worry about losing your independence, about the onset of severe physical illness, or the terrifying possibility of cognitive decline. You fear becoming a physical or financial burden to your children, trapped in a care facility, dependent on strangers. When these fearful thoughts arise, your heart rate increases and your body tightens in a state of hypervigilance. Mindfulness teaches us to bring our awareness back to the only moment where you are actually safe. Right here, right now. Look at this very second. As you take a deep breath, are you safe in this room? Yes. Is your heart still beating faithfully? Yes. Are your lungs still working smoothly to draw in oxygen? Yes. The future you are terrifying yourself with is nothing more than a mental projection, a phantom that does not exist. When you worry about becoming ill tomorrow, you are wasting the precious health you possess today. When you worry about dying, you forget to live. By using your breath as an anchor, you pull your mind back from the imaginary terrors of the future and root yourself in the solid ground of the present. You can tell yourself, inhaling, I know I am alive right now. Exhaling, I cherish this moment of life. This present moment is your ultimate fortress of safety. No matter what happens tomorrow, you have the capacity to handle this single moment right now. To lift our perspective even higher, to completely dissolve the illusion of isolation once and for all, let us touch the deepest, most revolutionary spiritual insight of Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings, the truth of interbeing. This is the profound understanding that nothing in this universe can exist by itself alone. Everything must interbe with everything else. We are not separate, isolated islands of consciousness. We are waves of the exact same eternal ocean, forever linked by an invisible, unbreakable spiritual bond. I invite you right now to open your hands and look closely at your palms. Turn them over. Look at the intricate lines, the weathered skin, and the veins running beneath the surface. What do you see when you look at your hands with the clear vision of mindfulness? You are looking at far more than just the physical markers of your own chronological age. If you look deeply, you will see the very bones, the genetic code, the hopes, and the living presence of your mother, your father, and all your ancestors living vibrantly within every single cell and every drop of blood in those hands. Thich Nhat Hanh always reminded us that our parents have not vanished into the past. They are not just distant memories or photographs on a wall. They are fully, dynamically alive, continuing their journey right inside your very body. You are their continuation. Every single time you draw a deep, peaceful breath, your mother and your father are breathing with you. Every single step you take upon this beautiful earth with awareness, your ancestors are walking with you. You carry an entire lineage, a vast, majestic stream of life and history within your physical form. How can you look around a quiet room and say you are completely alone when an entire universe of ancestors is experiencing this exact moment through you? You are a walking manifestation of 1,000 generations. Now look at the life that flows forward from you. Think of your children, your grandchildren, or the people whose lives you have touched through your kindness. Even if they are separated from you by thousands of miles of ocean and land, even if they are completely caught up in their own demanding, fast-paced lives in a distant city and have not called you in weeks, a piece of your physical body, your spiritual energy, your love, and your values is flowing directly through their veins, guiding their steps into the future. You are in them, and they are in you. Distance is an illusion of the physical world. It has no power over the spiritual reality of interbeing. Thich Nhat Hanh shared a profound insight that has brought absolute comfort to millions of lonely hearts. When you sit in meditation and generate peace, you are not doing it just for yourself. You are sitting for your ancestors, and you are sitting for your children. When you cultivate a quiet, steady, and joyful presence during your 15 minutes of daily practice, that beautiful energy ripples outward through the invisible web of interbeing. It offers spiritual shelter and peace to the memories of those who passed before you, and it silently lightens the invisible burdens of stress and anxiety carried by your children as they fight their daily battles in the competitive world. You may be sitting completely still, alone in a quiet room in the suburbs, but you are performing an act of immense spiritual love, service, and healing for your entire family tree. This realization shatters the wall of isolation. You see yourself as an inseparable part of the grand, eternal river of life, and in that beautiful moment, all your fears of growing old, being forgotten, or fading away dissolve like mist under the morning sun. My dear friend, we have walked a long, beautiful, and deeply moving path together today. We have looked directly, without any armor, into the heart of what it means to face loneliness in our later years. We have acknowledged the quiet, heavy sorrows that come with an empty home, the agonizing grief of losing a spouse, and the painful alienation we sometimes feel in this fast-moving, digital world. But more importantly, we have discovered the golden key that unlocks the door to absolute inner freedom, a key given to us through the gentle, rustic wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh. Let this final truth settle deep into your heart as the night falls. An empty house is never something to fear. It is an empty, restless, and unanchored mind that breeds suffering. Loneliness in old age is not an inescapable prison sentence that you are forced to endure as your life declines. It is a choice of where you place your attention. You can choose to run away from the quiet by filling your days with television noise, digital anxiety, and toxic news feeds, only to end up feeling more exhausted, empty, and isolated than before. Or you can choose to step forward, open your arms, and welcome the stillness, transforming it into a sweet, nourishing, and majestic solitude. I challenge you to commit to your 15 minutes of mindful breathing starting tomorrow morning. Do not wait for the phone to ring to decide to be happy. Do not wait for your children to visit or for your body to be completely free of aches before you allow yourself to be at peace. Light the lamp of mindfulness within your own chest the moment you open your eyes. Become your own best friend, your own refuge, and your own sanctuary. Before we conclude our sacred time together today, I invite you with deep sincerity to share a piece of your heart with our community. How do you feel after listening to these words today? Are you currently navigating the deep silence of an empty home or trying to find your footing after a great loss? Please leave a gentle comment below to share your personal thoughts and experiences. Every single word you write is not just a release for your own soul, it is a warm, extended hand to another lonely heart somewhere in the world, reminding them that they are not walking this autumn path alone. We are all waves of the same ocean. If this message has brought a sense of warmth, a spark of hope, or a moment of true healing into your day, please consider subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and sharing it with your friends and loved ones. Let us build a beautiful, global sanctuary of older adults who choose to live their lives with absolute presence, dignity, and boundless inner peace. Now, as we part ways for today, I invite you to join me in listening to one final sound of the meditation bell. Let this vibration travel deep into every cell of your body, into your heart and into your bones, dissolving any remaining pockets of worry or fear, leaving you in a state of perfect, unshakable tranquility. Listen closely, breathe deeply, and be at peace.